The money habit that changes everything. Introduction, powerful hook. Imagine waking up 1 year from today. You check your bank account, and for the first time in your life, you're not worried. Bills are paid. Your family is comfortable. You no longer panic whenever your phone rings because you're afraid someone is calling to ask for money. Instead, opportunities begin to chase you. Now here's the shocking truth. This future isn't reserved for people born into rich families. It isn't reserved for celebrities. It isn't reserved for lucky people. It's often created by one simple habit. One habit so powerful that it has transformed ordinary people into millionaires, one decision at a time. But here's the problem. Most people never develop this habit. Instead, they unknowingly repeat another habit that keeps them trapped in the same financial cycle year after year. And because they never notice it, they believe the problem is their salary, their country, their family, or simply bad luck. But none of those is the real reason. Today, I'm going to reveal the money habit that quietly changes everything. Not overnight. Not through magic. But through consistent daily actions that completely transform your financial future. And don't leave before the end. Because the final chapter contains one lesson that many wealthy people teach their children, but most people never hear until it's too late. This single lesson could completely change the way you think about money forever. Let's begin. Chapter 1. Your habits create your wealth. Money doesn't usually disappear because people are poor. Money disappears because of habits. The small choices you make every single day eventually become your financial future. Every cup of coffee. Every impulse purchase. Every unnecessary subscription. Every decision to save. Or not to save. None of these feels important in the moment. But together, they become your financial identity. Story. A young man named Daniel earned the equivalent of what many of his friends earned. Every payday, he celebrated. New clothes. New gadgets. Weekend outings. By the middle of the month, his account was almost empty. His friend Samuel earned almost the same income. But Samuel quietly saved a portion before spending anything. 5 years later, Daniel was still borrowing money. Samuel had started a business, invested his savings, and bought land. Their income wasn't what separated them. Their habits did. Every financial future begins with today's habits. And that's where change starts. Chapter 2. Pay yourself first. Most people believe they save whatever is left after spending. But here's the truth. There is almost never anything left. Every month, life finds a reason to take your money. A new bill. An unexpected emergency. A friend's celebration. A tempting online sale. Another small expense. If you wait until the end of the month to save, you'll usually find an empty account. That's why wealthy people reverse the process. They don't save what's left after spending. They spend what's left after saving. This is called paying yourself first. The moment money enters your hands, a portion belongs to your future, not to today's desires. It doesn't matter whether it's a large amount or a small one. What matters is building the habit. Even if you start with just a small percentage of your income, you're sending yourself a powerful message. My future is important. Over time, that habit becomes automatic, and automatic habits create extraordinary results. Story. There was a young woman named Grace who worked as a cashier. Her salary wasn't impressive, and every month she complained that there simply wasn't enough money. One day, an older customer noticed her frustration and shared a simple piece of advice. He said, "Every time you receive your salary, keep a part of it before you spend anything else. Treat that money as if it never existed." Grace laughed. She thought, "How can I save when I barely have enough?" Still, she decided to try. The first month, she set aside only a small amount. It didn't feel significant. The second month, she did it again. Then again. Some months were difficult. There were times she wanted to dip into her savings, but she reminded herself that she was protecting her future, not just her money. Years passed. Her savings became an emergency fund. Later, they became the capital for a small business she had always dreamed of starting. That business slowly grew. Eventually, it earned more than her salary ever had. Looking back, Grace realized something surprising. It wasn't the business that changed her life first. It was the habit. The business came later. The habit came first. The lesson. Most people think wealth begins with earning more. But in many cases, wealth begins with managing what you already have. Imagine two people who each earn 200,000 Nigerian nairas every month. The first spends the entire 200,000 Nigerian nairas. The second saves 20,000 Nigerian nairas first and lives on the remaining 180,000 Nigerian nairas. At first, their lives look almost the same. But after months and years, their paths begin to separate. One has nothing to show for years of work. The other has built a financial foundation that creates new opportunities. The difference wasn't luck. It wasn't intelligence. It was one simple habit repeated consistently. As the famous investor Warren Buffett once said, "Do not save what is left after spending, spend what is left after saving." That principle has changed countless lives. And it can change yours too. But paying yourself first is only the beginning. Because even people who save money often make one costly mistake that quietly destroys their financial future. In the next chapter, you'll discover why saving alone is not enough, and how to make your money start working for you instead of working only for money. Chapter 3: Make your money work for you. There comes a moment in every person's financial journey when they realize a powerful truth. You can only work so many hours in a day. Your energy has limits. Your time has limits. Your life has limits. If your income depends only on the hours you work, then your income will always have a ceiling. But wealthy people understand something different. They don't just work for money. They make their money work for them. Think of money as a seed. If you eat every seed you harvest, you'll enjoy one meal. But if you plant some of those seeds, they grow into crops that produce even more seeds. The same principle applies to money. Every naira you spend is gone. Every naira you wisely invest has the potential to return with friends. That is how wealth begins, not through luck, but through multiplication. Story. There were two brothers, Michael and David. Both got their first jobs at the same company. Both earned almost the same salary. Every month, Michael spent nearly everything he earned. He upgraded his phone whenever a new model came out. He bought expensive clothes to impress people. He believed that looking wealthy was the same as becoming wealthy. David enjoyed nice things too, but he followed a different habit. After paying himself first, he looked for ways to make his savings grow. He learned new skills. He invested in his education. He started a small side business on weekends. Whenever that business made a profit, he didn't spend all of it. He reinvested a large portion back into the business. Years passed. Michael was still working hard just to maintain his lifestyle. David's business had grown so much that it continued earning money even while he slept. One evening, Michael asked his brother, "How did you become successful so quickly?" David smiled and replied, "It wasn't quick. While you were spending your money, I was giving mine a job." That simple sentence changed Michael's life forever. The lesson: money is like an employee. If every naira you earn immediately leaves your pocket, then none of your money is working for you. Imagine hiring 10 workers and allowing all of them to leave the office without doing any work. That would make no sense. Yet many people do exactly that with their money every payday. Instead, ask yourself a simple question whenever you receive income. Can a part of this money create more money? Sometimes the answer may be learning a valuable skill. Sometimes it may be starting a small business. Sometimes it may be making a careful investment after doing proper research. The goal isn't to get rich overnight. The goal is to create income that doesn't rely only on your daily effort. Remember, every wealthy person was once a beginner. They started with small amounts, small investments, small businesses, small opportunities. But they stayed consistent. Over time, those small decisions became extraordinary results. Never underestimate the power of one wise financial decision repeated over many years. Because money grows quietly before it grows visibly. In the next chapter, we'll uncover another life-changing habit, the habit of controlling your spending instead of letting your spending control you. This is where many people unknowingly lose thousands, even millions, of naira over their lifetime. Chapter 4: Control your spending before it controls you. Have you ever looked at your bank account and wondered, where did all my money go? You remember getting paid. You remember working hard for every naira. But somehow, by the end of the month, your account is almost empty. The truth is, most people don't become financially stressed because of one big purchase. They become financially stressed because of hundreds of small, emotional purchases that seem harmless in the moment. A snack here. An online order there. A subscription you forgot about. A reward after a difficult day. A purchase made just because someone else had it. One expense may not seem like much, but together, they silently steal your financial future. We often blame our income. But many times, the real problem isn't how much we earn. It's how little attention we give to where our money goes. Wealth isn't just about making more. It's also about keeping more. Story. There was a young man named Tund. He had a good job and earned enough to live comfortably. Yet every month, he was broke. He couldn't understand it. One evening, his uncle asked him a simple question. Tund, do you know exactly where your money went last month? Tund laughed. Not really. His uncle handed him a notebook. For the next 30 days, write down every single naira you spend. No matter how small. Tund thought it was a waste of time. Still, he agreed. The first week shocked him. He discovered he was spending money on things he barely remembered buying. Food deliveries. Random online purchases. Transportation he could have planned better. Entertainment that brought only a few minutes of happiness. By the end of the month, he added everything together. The total was unbelievable. He realized he had spent enough money on unnecessary things to start the small business he had always dreamed about. That notebook changed his life. He didn't suddenly earn more money. He simply became aware. And awareness changed his decisions. Within a year, he had built savings, cleared debts, and finally launched his business. The miracle wasn't more income. The miracle was better control. The lesson? Every naira has a destination. If you don't decide where it goes, someone else will. Advertising companies are working every day to convince you to spend. Stores are designed to encourage impulse buying. Social media constantly tells you that happiness is just one more purchase away. But real financial freedom comes from asking one question before you spend. Do I need this, or do I simply want it right now? That one question can save you thousands of naira over time. Imagine spending just 2,000 Nigerian nairas every day on things you don't truly need. It doesn't feel like much. But over 1 year, 2,000 Nigerian nairas times 365 days equals 730,000 Nigerian nairas. Think about that. 730,000 Nigerian nairas could become business capital. It could build an emergency fund. It could pay for valuable training. It could become an investment in your future. The difference between financial struggle and financial freedom is often found in these small daily decisions. Remember, being disciplined with money doesn't mean you never enjoy life. It means you choose lasting value over temporary pleasure. Because every time you say no to an unnecessary expense, you're saying yes to a stronger future. And here's the exciting part. Once you've learned to save your money and control your spending, there's one final habit that separates ordinary earners from people who build lasting wealth. In the next chapter, you'll discover the habit of investing in the greatest asset you will ever own, a habit that can increase your income for the rest of your life. Chapter 5: Invest in the greatest asset you will ever own. If I asked you to name the greatest investment in the world, what would you say? Real estate? Stocks? Gold? A successful business? Those are all valuable. But none of them is the greatest investment. The greatest investment you will ever make is yourself. Why? Because every skill you learn, every book you read, every mentor you listen to, every lesson you apply, increases something no one can take away from you: your ability to earn. Money can disappear. Businesses can fail. Markets can crash. But knowledge stays with you. And the right knowledge has the power to create money again and again. The richest people in the world never stop learning. Even after becoming successful, they continue reading, studying, asking questions, and improving themselves. Because they understand a simple truth: your income rarely grows beyond your personal growth. Story. There was a young man named Chinidu. He worked long hours in a small office. Every month, he earned just enough to survive. One day, he noticed that another employee, who had started at the same time, was promoted. At first, Chinidu became jealous. He thought the promotion was unfair. But instead of complaining, he decided to observe. He discovered that his colleague spent evenings learning new skills. He watched educational videos. He read books. He attended affordable training programs. He asked experienced people questions instead of pretending to know everything. Inspired, Chinidu made a decision. Instead of spending hours scrolling through social media every night, he dedicated 1 hour each day to learning. At first, it felt difficult. His friends laughed at him. Some even asked, "Why are you studying so much? You're already working." But Chinidu ignored the criticism. Months turned into years. The skills he learned made him more valuable. Soon, another company offered him a better job with a much higher salary. Later, he started consulting others because of his expertise. People didn't pay him because he was lucky. They paid him because he knew how to solve problems. Looking back, Chinidu realized something powerful. The best investment he ever made wasn't in a product. It wasn't in a business. It was in becoming a better version of himself. The lesson: imagine two people each receive 100,000 Nigerian nairas. The first person spends it all on things that lose value within a few months. The second person uses part of it to learn a valuable skill that increases their income for years. At first, the first person appears to enjoy life more. But over time, the second person earns more, saves more, invests more, and creates more opportunities. Knowledge is different from possessions. Possessions usually lose value. Knowledge often creates value. Ask yourself these questions. What new skill can I learn this year? Which book can help me think differently about money? Who can I learn from? What habit can I develop that my future self will thank me for? Remember, the person you become is more important than the money you earn today. Because the right mindset and the right skills can create wealth again and again. Your bank account is often a reflection of your habits, your decisions, and your willingness to grow. And now we've reached one of the most important lessons in this journey. In the next chapter, you'll discover why patience is the hidden money habit that changes everything, and why so many people stay poor simply because they expect success too quickly. That lesson could completely transform the way you think about building wealth. Chapter 6: Patience, the money habit most people ignore. We live in a world that wants everything now. Instant food. Instant messages. Instant entertainment. And sadly, many people also want instant wealth. They dream of becoming rich in a few weeks. They jump from one get-rich-quick scheme to another. 1 month it's cryptocurrency. The next month it's sports betting. Then it's a new online business they've never taken time to understand. They are always chasing the next shortcut. But here's the truth that many people don't want to hear. Real wealth is usually built slowly before it is seen suddenly. A tree doesn't produce fruit the day you plant it. A child doesn't become an adult overnight. A house isn't built by laying all the bricks at once. Everything valuable takes time. Money is no different. The people who achieve lasting financial freedom understand that patience isn't waiting without action. Patience is continuing to do the right things, even when you don't see immediate results. Story. There were two friends, Ibrahim and Victor. Both wanted to become wealthy. One day, each of them received 500,000 Nigerian nairas. Ibrahim wanted quick results. He invested in a business someone guaranteed would double his money in just 1 month. It sounded exciting. It sounded easy. Without asking questions or doing research, he handed over all his money. A month later, the business disappeared. The phone number stopped working. The office was empty. His 500,000 Nigerian nairas was gone. Victor also wanted to grow his money. But instead of rushing, he took his time. He studied different investment opportunities. He asked experienced people for advice. He invested only in things he understood. He didn't become rich in 1 month. Or 6 months. But year after year, his money continued to grow. 5 years later, Victor had built real wealth. Ibrahim was still searching for another shortcut. One chased speed. The other practiced patience. Only one reached financial freedom. The lesson? Patience is not the opposite of success. It is the path to success. Many people quit just before their efforts begin to produce results. They save for 3 months and stop. They start a business and give up after a few difficult weeks. They begin learning a valuable skill but become discouraged because progress feels slow. What they don't realize is that every successful person has gone through the same stage. The difference is, successful people stayed consistent. Imagine filling a bucket with 1 cup of water every day. The first few days don't seem impressive. The bucket still looks almost empty. But if you keep pouring 1 cup in every single day, eventually the bucket becomes full. Wealth works the same way. Every amount you save, every wise investment you make, every valuable skill you learn, every unnecessary expense you avoid. They may seem small today, but together, they create extraordinary results over time. Never underestimate the power of consistency. Small actions repeated every day are more powerful than big actions performed once. Remember this. The people who become wealthy aren't always the smartest. They aren't always the luckiest. Often, they are simply the ones who refuse to quit. They trusted the process. They remained disciplined. They stayed patient. And eventually, patience rewarded them. As we move into the next chapter, you'll discover another habit that quietly separates wealthy people from everyone else. The habit of surrounding yourself with people who challenge you to grow instead of pulling you backwards. Sometimes your financial future changes not because you earn more, but because you change who you listen to. Chapter 7. Choose your circle wisely. Have you ever noticed that habits spread from one person to another? Spend enough time with people who complain, and eventually, you'll find yourself complaining too. Spend enough time with people who waste money. In the next chapter, we'll uncover a habit that separates people who remain financially stuck from those who keep moving forward, the habit of learning from failure instead of being defeated by it. One mistake doesn't have to end your journey. Sometimes, it becomes the very reason you succeed. Chapter 8. Turn failures into financial lessons. There is one habit that separates people who eventually become wealthy from those who remain stuck. It's not that successful people never fail. It's that they never allow failure to become their final destination. Failure is not the opposite of success. Very often, failure is the teacher that leads you to success. Think about a child learning to walk. The child falls, then stands again, falls again, gets back up again. No one tells the child, walking isn't for you. Everyone understands that falling is part of learning. Yet when adults fail financially, many people give up forever. They lose money once and decide that business is too risky. They make one bad investment and swear they'll never invest again. They get rejected once and stop trying. But every successful person has faced setbacks. The difference is that they chose to learn instead of quit. Story. There was a woman named Amina who dreamed of owning her own clothing business. She saved for 3 years. Finally, she opened a small shop. She was excited. She believed customers would come immediately. But reality was different. Some days, no one bought anything. Other days, she sold only 1 or 2 items. After 8 months, she had lost most of her savings. Her friends said, "We told you business wasn't for you." For a few weeks, Amina believed them. She felt embarrassed. She wanted to quit. Then one evening, she met an elderly businessman. He asked her one question. "What did your business teach you?" Amina was confused. She expected sympathy. Instead, she was being asked to learn. She thought carefully. She realized she had made many mistakes. She hadn't studied her customers. She hadn't managed her inventory well. She had spent too much on decoration and too little on marketing. Instead of giving up, she spent the next year learning everything she could about running a business. She attended workshops. She read books. She spoke to experienced entrepreneurs. Then she started again. This time, she was wiser. Her second business grew steadily. Years later, it expanded into multiple stores. People admired her success. Few people knew that her success was built on the lessons from her first failure. Amina often told young entrepreneurs, "My first business didn't make me rich. It made me wise. And that wisdom made me rich." The lesson. Every mistake carries a lesson. If you refuse to learn the lesson, you'll keep repeating the mistake. But if you learn from it, that mistake becomes an investment in your future. Ask yourself these questions whenever something goes wrong. What happened? Why did it happen? What can I do differently next time? How can this experience make me stronger? Those 4 questions can turn disappointment into progress. Remember, every wealthy person has made bad decisions. Every investor has experienced losses. Every entrepreneur has faced difficult seasons. Every successful person has failed at something. The goal isn't to avoid failure. The goal is to fail, learn, improve, and keep moving forward. Never let one bad chapter convince you that your story is over. A single mistake cannot define your future unless you allow it to. Your greatest breakthrough may be hiding behind the lesson you're refusing to learn today. And now, we're approaching one of the most powerful habits of all. In the next chapter, you'll discover why generosity and value creation are deeply connected to lasting wealth. It's a principle that sounds simple, yet it has transformed the lives of countless successful people around the world. Don't miss it. You may never look at money the same way again. Chapter 9. The more value you create, the more money you attract. Many people spend their lives asking one question: how can I make more money? But wealthy people often ask a different question: how can I create more value? That single shift in thinking changes everything. Money is a reward. It is a reward for solving problems. It is a reward for meeting people's needs. It is a reward for creating something that improves someone else's life. Think about it. Why do people pay a doctor? Because the doctor solves a health problem. Why do people pay a teacher? Because the teacher provides knowledge. Why do people pay a mechanic? Because the mechanic fixes a car. Why do people pay an entrepreneur? Because the entrepreneur offers a product or service that people need. The greater the value you create, the greater the opportunity to earn. This is why chasing money alone rarely works. Instead, chase excellence. Chase solutions. Chase becoming useful. When you become valuable, money begins to follow. Story. There was a young man named Joseph who desperately wanted to become rich. Every day he searched for easy ways to make money. He watched videos promising instant success. He jumped from one opportunity to another. Months passed, but nothing changed. One afternoon, he met an elderly carpenter. The carpenter's workshop was always busy. Customers patiently waited because they trusted his work. Joseph asked him, "What's your secret to making so much money?" The carpenter smiled and replied, "I don't wake up asking how to make money. I wake up asking how to make the best furniture I possibly can. When people see quality, they come back. And when they come back, they bring others with them." Those words stayed with Joseph. Instead of chasing shortcuts, he decided to master a skill. He learned graphic design. At first, his work was average. But every day he practiced. He asked for feedback. He improved little by little. Soon, his designs became so good that people began recommending him to others. His clients increased. His income increased. And for the first time, he understood something powerful. He stopped chasing money. He started creating value. And money followed. The lesson? Ask yourself these questions. What problem can I solve? What skill can I improve? How can I help people better than I did yesterday? What can I create that genuinely improves someone's life? If you focus only on earning money, you may become frustrated. But if you focus on becoming more valuable, your opportunities begin to multiply. Every book you read, every skill you master, every person you help, every problem you solve, adds to your value. And over time, value attracts opportunity. Opportunity attracts income. Income, when managed wisely, becomes wealth. Remember this powerful truth. People are not paid simply for working hard. They are paid for the value they bring. The world rewards those who make life easier, better, faster, safer, or more meaningful for others. So instead of asking, "How can I get more?" start asking, "How can I give more?" Because the people who give the greatest value often receive the greatest rewards. And now, we've reached the final chapter. This last habit ties every lesson in this journey together. It is the habit that transforms knowledge into results. The habit that separates dreamers from achievers. The habit without which every lesson you've heard today remains only an idea. Stay with me, because the final chapter may become the turning point of your financial life. Chapter 10: Take Action, the habit that changes everything. We've talked about saving. We've talked about investing. We've talked about controlling your spending. We've talked about patience. We've talked about learning, creating value, and surrounding yourself with the right people. But here's the uncomfortable truth. None of these habits will change your life unless you act on them. Knowledge is powerful. But applied knowledge is life-changing. Millions of people know they should save money. Yet they don't. Millions know they should stop wasting money. Yet they continue. Millions dream of starting a business. Yet they keep waiting for the perfect time. The truth is, the perfect time rarely comes. If you wait until you have no fear, you'll wait forever. If you wait until everything is perfect, you'll never begin. Every successful person you admire once stood exactly where you are now. They were uncertain. They made mistakes. They doubted themselves. But they took the first step anyway. That first step changed everything. Story. A young man named Kunal had one dream. He wanted to own a successful business. For years, he collected business ideas. He watched motivational videos every day. He filled notebooks with brilliant plans. He attended seminars. He read books about money. Everyone thought he was preparing for success. But deep inside, he was afraid. He kept telling himself, "I'll start next month." Then next month became next year. One afternoon, Kunal met an elderly woman selling fruit by the roadside. She smiled and asked him why he looked worried. He explained all his dreams. After listening quietly, she picked up a seed from a nearby fruit. Holding it in her hand, she asked, "What happens if I keep this seed in my pocket forever?" Kunal answered, "Nothing." She nodded. "And what happens if I plant it?" "It grows into a tree." She smiled again. "Exactly. A dream kept in your mind is like a seed kept in your pocket. It has potential, but it produces nothing. Only the seed that is planted can grow." Those words changed Kunal forever. The next day, he stopped waiting. He started small. He didn't have a big office. He didn't have expensive equipment. He didn't have everything figured out. But he started. His first months were difficult. He made mistakes. He lost customers. He learned. He improved. Year after year, his small business became larger. Looking back, he realized that the biggest difference wasn't intelligence. It wasn't money. It was action. He stopped waiting for the perfect moment and created progress one day at a time. The final lesson. Success isn't built in one giant leap. It's built through thousands of small decisions made consistently. Every day you choose to save instead of waste. Every day you choose to learn instead of making excuses. Every day you choose discipline over comfort. Every day you choose patience over shortcuts. You are becoming the person capable of building lasting wealth. Remember the habits we've learned. Pay yourself first. Make your money work for you. Control your spending. Invest in yourself. Be patient. Choose your circle wisely. Learn from failure. Create value for others. Take action every single day. None of these habits requires you to be born rich. None of them depends on luck. They depend on decisions. And decisions repeated every day become habits. Habits become your lifestyle. Your lifestyle becomes your future. The life you dream of doesn't begin when you become rich. It begins the moment you develop the habits that create wealth. So when this video ends, don't just feel inspired. Take one action today. Open a savings account if you don't have one. Write down your monthly expenses. Read 10 pages of a good financial book. Learn a new skill. Start that small business idea. Or simply make one better financial decision than you made yesterday. Small actions, repeated consistently, create extraordinary lives. Closing message. If this message challenged the way you think about money, then don't let it end here. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. You never know whose future could change because you pressed one button. And if you're committed to building a life of discipline, wisdom, and financial freedom, subscribe and become part of this growing community. Here, we don't chase quick riches. We build lasting success, one habit, one decision, and one day at a time. Remember our motto: master your mind. Transform your life. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.